Hi, I'm Josiah,
And I'm Colin.
and this is Worth Watching. So, this was a January espionage movie starring Chris Pine and Keira Knightley, with Kenneth Branagh playing a Russian villain.
Surprisingly, not terrible.
Alright, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Worth Watching. Today the movie we're going to be reviewing is Jack Ryan's Shadow Recruit, starring Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, Kevin Costner, and Kenneth Branagh.
Alright, so the main character of this movie is Jack Ryan, played by Chris Pine. He's a college student, witnesses 9/11 happen, and immediately he joins the military. During his 18 months of service, he's in a bad military accident. He heroically saves two people. He ends up getting hurt, and he ends up needing physical therapy. And he is then approached by the CIA, who ask him to join forces with them and become an analyst. And the movie just starts to really unfold from there, and that's basically it.
So the way this movie starts, I thought was pretty weak. You have a lot of setup, but it's not really actually feeling like it's setting up a lot. It feels like it's just slow parts of the movie there, just for the sake of having a slow part at the beginning.
Yeah.
I felt like the characters weren't developed very well. You have some iffy dialogue and some iffy plot contrivances happening.
Yeah.
But once you get past about the first half hour, 45 minutes of the movie,
Oh, it got super good.
right, yeah,
Really
it starts
good.
picking up a lot more. It's a lot more interesting, a lot more action-packed. It's actually a really enjoyable movie once you make it past about that first half hour.
Intense and all that. So the rest of the half of the movie definitely made up for the first. One of the scenes that I felt really started to pick up and kind of get fast-paced, intense, and gritty, and just really entertaining was the scene where Chris Pine and Kevin Costner are both in the plane, and they're just now starting to figure out what the terrorist organization is actually starting to do step by step, and they just keep unraveling all the...
Yeah, and there's a lot of data analysis going back and forth from computer to computer. They have all the technicians around them.
And it just starts like going all over the place, and it really got interesting.
And the movie overall, I was concerned going into it. I thought Chris Pine, I know he's not a bad actor, but I thought he wasn't, I didn't know how he'd fit the role. He actually did fine because this is a very young Jack Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is him. He's an analyst. He's not used to this, deep cover sort of operations and things. So he's really out of his element, and Chris Pine plays that really well. There's a scene after he's just killed someone for the first time in self-defense, and he's freaking out and his hands are shaking. He doesn't know what to do, and Chris Pine does it really well.
Yeah, and is it just me? But I actually like the fact that he was shaking, that he wasn't able just to. You had made mention that's not what he does.
Right, and all the time in movies, you've got these people who they're.
He's an analyst, but all of a sudden he turns super agent.
Right,
and,
exactly.
He can kill everybody.
But that's not what this was. He actually was struggling with it. And it seemed for hours afterwards he was having trouble with it and just didn't know what was going on. So
I really
liked
that. Yeah.
Really well. Also, if you've watched the show before, you know I'm not a huge Keira Knightley fan. She was probably my favorite actor in this movie. She gave a great performance as Chris Pine's girlfriend, fiancee in the movie, because she doesn't know what's going on. She's slowly finding out, piecing things together. Yeah. And I thought the movie handled their relationship fairly well. And I thought, there are moments when it felt
little cheesy, kind of.
Right, or shoehorned.
I didn't feel like they overdid it though, and they kind of kept it curtailed a little bit.
Yeah.
And didn't they weren't. It didn't feel like they were trying to throw it in my face during the movie.
But most of all, I came away with a really positive experience from her performance. I thought she gave a really good performance, and she was probably the best actor in the movie.
Yeah, and Kevin Costner, I actually enjoyed his performance too as a CIA operative.
He was kind of a one-dimensional character, but he worked really well to keep the plot moving forward.
Yes.
He was just really good at preventing there from being slow spots once his character got introduced.
Now, this movie was a very average, predictable movie, which I was fine with that. It was very enjoyable, and the ending, again, was very predictable, but it was a good ending. I didn't feel like I was shortchanged or,
A lot of movies I've been seeing have had a great setup, great execution, and then a terrible ending. I felt that way with Prisoners and things like that. But this one, yes, it's very predictable.
You knew it was going to happen, but it was a very satisfying.
Yeah, it's predictable in that satisfying way. It gives you exactly what you're expecting to get. And so you don't feel, like you said, shortchanged at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, this movie has a few minor problems. The cinematography is very average. It had some really odd editing at some points in the movie. The soundtrack worked fine for the movie, but was nothing special. So again, it's a very average movie, but it's still entertaining.
Yeah, a lot better than what I actually was
thinking
it was going to be.
It falls into that category of this movie was surprisingly not terrible.
Yeah. Well, then, on a scale of A through F, what would you give the movie?
I would give the movie a low B. I was again pleasantly surprised at the movie. It's not a great movie. I'm probably not going to watch it again anytime soon. but I overall did enjoy it, and I was pleasantly surprised, so it bumped up from like a high C to a low B for me.
Okay.
What would you rate the movie?
I'd give it a B. Not a low B, but I'd give it a, B plus or something like that, about a medium-sized B.
Yeah, if you've already seen Lone Survivor and Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah.
and you're looking
Don't
for a movie...
expect this to be better.
Well, right, but if you're looking for another movie to watch this month, it's not a bad choice.
No, it's not.
All right, thanks for watching this episode of Worth Watching. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below on what you thought of the film, and subscribe if you want to see more.
Bye.
Bye.